Hello and good evening, my little ones. How are you all doing today? Welcome to yet another storytelling session by Mindseed Preschool and Daycare. My name is Shaily and I'm going to be your host for this evening. And I'm going to tell you a wonderful story. But before that, I hope you all have had a wonderful Diwali vacation where you've eaten lots of sweet and bursted few crackers or maybe no crackers. That would have been wonderful if you had bursted no crackers because we have to now take care of our environment and take care of each other, right? So, in this story today is about a little girl who is probably as old as you all are, and it is also something that will remind you of your first day of school. Sometime back earlier last year when school started, and maybe if it was your first day of school and when you made some new friends. So, today's story is about a little mouse and how she goes to school, tries to make friends, and the kind of situations and different kinds of events that follow and that have, you know, a deep impact on her. So, before we begin the story, I want all of you, all my little viewers, to go and tell your mummies and papas to come and sit next to you for this story. It's a beautiful story that all of us can enjoy together. But more than that, there's also a tiny little activity before we begin. I want all of you, little babies who are watching this story, I want you all to write down your names in the comment section. It's okay even if you write it in the live chat, but write it in the comment section what your name is and what it means. Because the story that we're going to do today is all about your name and how special is it, whether you like it, whether you don't like it. And if you don't like it, why don't you like it? And what can really happen if you have a very, very different kind of a name? So, today is the story of our beautiful little friend here. Hello. And her name is something I am going to reveal when we begin the story. So, our little friend, now let's begin with the story and talk about what happens to her when she goes to school. Okay, so this dear little mousy friend of ours, when she was very, very tiny, maybe even tinier than all of you all are right now, um, when she was just born, her mummy and her papa, so let's call them Papa Mouse and Mummy Mouse. So, Papa Mouse and Mummy Mouse were so happy when she was born. And they were so happy the way she looked and the way she was behaving. She used to get along with everybody. Whoever wanted to pick her up and hug her, she was very nice. And she would not really cry so much and she would always enjoy herself. So, then Papa Mouse and Mama Mouse enjoyed the way she looked and she was with all the family members, and they felt that she was just perfect and everything about her was perfect, the way she looked and the way she was. So they decided that her name has to be just like her. It has to be perfect. And that's when they decided to name her Chrysanthemum. Yes, you heard it right. Her name was Chrysanthemum. And that means it's basically named after a flower. So, our dear friend who's called Chrysanthemum was very, very happy when she grew up and she got to learn more about her name. She really enjoyed listening to the sound of her name. So, she used to love when her mom used to call her Chrysanthemum, come for breakfast, and Chrysanthemum when her papa was used to call her for dinner. And she used to love even saying her name when she used to be in the bathroom and in front of the mirror, and she would go Chrysanthemum, Chrysanthemum, Chrysanthemum. And she would love to see her name written on different places. So, for example, if ever there was a little letter that came for her, then she would love to see her name written on the envelope. It sounded and it looked so beautiful and just so perfect according to her. And then she would also love to see her name written so nice, so big, and so wide on her birthday cakes. Now, just imagine if she has such a big name, it would be such a big cake, also, right? Wow, I am feeling so hungry hearing that cake, aren't you? Okay, and then what else? So she used to also, when she grew up and she started to write, and she would love to use her favorite orange color crayon, which is nice and thick, and also then write her name. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. So that's her name. So one day, when she grew up and she was old enough to go to school, her mother and father prepared her bag and her little tiffin box, and they wished her all the very best for her first day of school. And Chrysanthemum, she wore a beautiful, nice, bright pink colored dress, and she was so excited that, oh wow, I'm gonna go to school, I'm gonna meet so many more people, and I'm gonna make so many more new friends. So I'm excited. Let's go find out what's gonna happen. So she goes and she goes running from her home and off she goes to her school. And when she reaches school, she enjoys everybody around her. She finds it very amusing what people do, how people are dressed, and she's looking around and smiling at everybody. And when the teacher comes, and she starts taking roll calls by calling out everybody's name, like she had different people in her school with lovely, lovely names called Victoria or Jane or Toby. And then the teacher called out Chrysanthemum. And when they did, you know what happened? All these friends, all these little kids who were in her class, they started laughing a little bit. They started giggling. Oh my god, is that a name? So all her little friends, they would come and they would make fun of her name. Oh my god, what a name is it? It's Chrysanthemum. What sort of a name is that? It's so long. Are you sure that's your name? And Chrysanthemum, who loved her name, suddenly started feeling very sad, like, oh my god, people are making fun of my name. And here you go. Oh, look, your name is so big, it doesn't even fit on your name card. It has 13 letters. How is this even possible? My name is Victoria, and my name is after my grandmother. Look at your name. It's after a flower. Who even has such a kind of a name? And when she heard all of these comments in her school, she started feeling so sad. What made her so proud and what made her so happy about her own name, suddenly she was so disheartened that her name was something that all her friends were joking about. So she quietly went home that evening, and that time when she went to her parents, and her parents greeted her with so much of excitement. They said that, oh wow, our daughter's home. It's so nice to have you. And they asked her how her day was and what happened. And our Chrysanthemum was so unhappy. She said, school is not the place for me. I don't want to go back again. Everybody made fun of me saying that my name is so big and it has 13 letters in it, and it's almost as big as, it doesn't even fit on my name card. And it's almost half the size of the alphabet series, which is true, but it's a beautiful name. So her parents said, oh, don't worry. Shush, don't you dare think of all of these things and let it get onto your head. And you are as perfect as your name is. Your name is very beautiful, and you are just as beautiful as your name. So don't worry. go to school tomorrow and I'm sure things will be better. That's what Mama said to her, and she cooked her a beautiful, yummy, yummy, yummy meal to eat in that evening. And of course, our dear little chrysanthemum, she felt much better having some cheese macaroni with ketchup and also some ice cream for dessert. So she felt very good. And that night, when she went to sleep, she hugged a little soft toy and she had a beautiful dream. And in her dream, her name was Jane. And that time she felt very happy. So the next day, Chrysanthemum, she dressed up and she said, "Okay, let's get ready for another day at school." So she got ready and she started walking to school this time. She was trying to walk as slowly as she could. She was dragging her feet and she was saying her name: Chrysanthemum, 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 as she went to her school. And this time, when she went to the school and she entered the playground, all her classmates again started pointing at her and started making fun of her and started saying mean things all over again. And they said, "Oh, look, Chrysanthemum is here. Look, I think let's pluck her like a flower. And I'm sure she must be staying in all sorts of dirt and soil where there are lots of worms." So all her friends again started making fun of her. And with all these comments that she would get to hear from her friends, she kept feeling very, very sad. I'm sure it is difficult to keep hearing such comments, although she had a very nice name. But she started believing that maybe her name was not very, very nice. So Chrysanthemum, again, when she was walking back, she was almost in tears and her head was down and she was not smiling anymore. Again, this time when her parents greeted her, she told her parents all that happened with her in school. And her parents said, "Oh, my dear, you don't have to worry whatever these people say. They just don't like your name. That's why they're making fun of you. But you have a beautiful name and it's as perfect as you are." So Chrysanthemum felt a little better, but she wasn't too sure if she enjoyed everything that happened. Although, again, in the evening, when her mother made some really nice warm soup for her and gave her some chocolate pudding at the end of the meal, she felt a little better. And when she went to bed, this time she did not have a good dream. And this time's dream, she actually dreamt that she became the flower, like the chrysanthemum flower. And this flower that came all over her body, all her friends from the school, they were plucking different petals from that flower and they were plucking leaves from that flower and making lots of fun and hitting her. And she felt so bad and she woke up and she was so scared. But then gradually, when she dressed up to go to school, she started walking and she started looking down at all the flowers that were on the way to school. And every time she looked at the flowers, she thought that all those flowers were making fun of her name. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. And soon, when she got into college, into her school, that time she was hoping and she was praying that this day should not be as bad as the other 2 days that went by. So, gradually, what happened was something new happened this time, thankfully. This time, they had a beautiful new teacher who used to teach them music. And this teacher's name was Miss Twinkle. There you go. So Miss Twinkle, she came to this class and she taught them lovely music like do re mi fa sol la si do. And then all the children, when they listened to her and when she was singing, they all were so mesmerized and they were just staring at her. "Wow, you've got such a lovely voice, Twinkle Miss. This is so much fun," they all would tell her. And then Miss Twinkle, she decided to make different groups of children, and she gave all of them small, small characters to play for a lovely little function, like a musical story that they wanted to do. And in that, all of Chrysanthemum's friends got some different parts. One, like Victoria from her class, who used to make a lot of fun of her, this girl got to play the princess of the garden. And some other friend of hers got to play the butterfly. Another friend of hers got to play like the pixie messenger. And then, guess what did our Chrysanthemum get to play? Chrysanthemum got to play a flower. She was Daisy the flower in this beautiful garden. And while Chrysanthemum was dreading any comments coming from all her friends, did you know what happened? All her friends started making fun of her. Chrysanthemum's a flower, chrysanthemum's a flower. And soon, when all these kids were making such a commotion, Miss Twinkle, she comes over and she is asking, what is so much of this commotion for? What is happening? What are you all making fun of her about? So then all these little kids said, oh, look, miss, her name is Chrysanthemum and she's named after a flower. You know, isn't that funny? It's such a long name. So Miss Twinkle, she says, well, what is so funny about a name? I think it's very nice. And in fact, it's okay to have a long name. Do you know that even my name is a very long name? So all the kids, they were like, really? Do you think so? And then they started counting the letters. T, W, I, N, K, L, E. So that's 7 letters. But Chrysanthemum has 13 letters, which is much bigger. So how is it even possible? And Twinkle Miss said that her name was Delphinium Twinkle. And when all the kids heard her name, they were like, oh my god, that's a very big name. And when Twinkle Miss said that her name also was a name of a flower, Chrysanthemum was so happy. And she said that, and Twinkle Miss was actually expecting a baby. And she said that if I have a baby girl, I am definitely going to name her Chrysanthemum. It's such a beautiful name of a flower, and it is also such a beautiful flower. And can you imagine what would have happened to our Chrysanthemum? She couldn't believe her ears, and she was so happy. And my god, it was all like the lost joy that she had in these 2 3 days when all her friends were making fun of her. It all came back. She started smiling again. She felt so good about her name. And guess what? All the little girls who were making fun of her names came up to her and they said, hey Chrysanthemum, will you be our friend? I also want to change my name and I think I want to be called as a Daisy. Or another friend said that she wants to be called Jasmine. And another friend said that she wants to be called Rose. And all of them said, why don't we all become friends and we'll all have names as different flowers, and it would be so much fun to hang out and play together. And with that, Chrysanthemum had one of the best times in school and she enjoyed her name so much. So every day when she got back from school, she would always sing the song Chrysanthemum, Chrysanthemum, Chrysanthemum. So with that, we come to an end of our story, which is a very, very beautiful story, I feel. It takes you through so many different kinds of situations and feelings and emotions. But it's also something that you should be able to be thankful about, things that you already have, and how all the things that you have are so special to you as well. And of course, Chrysanthemum was also very, very special to her parents. So With that, we come to an end of our storytelling session. I hope you really like this story, and we will be back next weekend with another story by Aparna teacher. So, till then, I hope you have a great week ahead. See you soon.